In today's video, we'll be having a look at some specific key trades that I found, some of which I already dropped over the course of yesterday. Some of you are already in some of those trades. I want to help you to manage them. That's the first thing. The second thing, we'll talk about the bulls and the bears, which are going to be fighting for about a 7% territory. That is the level that needs to be cleared by the bulls to avoid a very, very, very bearish signal, which will play out into the following months. And I want to talk about that as well. Smash the like button. Let's get straight into the show content. Have a lot to discuss today. Very, very, very important. Remember, it is also the Black Friday, right? Black Friday now transitioning into Cyber Monday. We've improved the offer for those of you that have been on the fence thinking about what you want next. For anyone that does decide to join into Whale Room, you will be getting a free Bitfunded challenge as well, guaranteed. That's valued at $5,000. And then the first 100 of you will have the opportunity to actually get a $10,000 challenge. So for those of you that want to get into that, use the link in the description below because it is limited. We only have 134 places left under that specific offer. So let's get into it. We're looking over here at Bitcoin with the bearish cross, of course, taking place on the monthly MACD, which is currently crossed towards the downside. And pretty much as long as price closes the month, which is happening in the next day or so, below 97,392, that being the yellow line over there, you will inevitably have that cross. The implications and importance of this we've discussed at length in the past. And what it basically means is if you do cross down there, well, we've never seen a bull market continue in that environment. We've always led into a bear market. Now, of course, we don't have that many iterations or sample sizes, because Bitcoin's history is not that long. But if you're going off of the previous dates, it's 100% guaranteed that at that point you are in a bear market, which is going to change the outlook and the approach and the strategies in terms of how you should tackle things going forward and how you should position your mindset. So if you have a look over here, that is basically a 7.3% upside move that needs to basically happen before the end of the month. And let's just quickly double check how many days do we have in this month over here. So we'll quickly throw that in. We got 30, which means it must happen by Sunday close. If you don't see price above $97,392 by Sunday, well, you have your answer. So I'll pose the question to you. Let me know in the poll and smash the like button while you're at it. Will Bitcoin close the week above that 97,300? 34% of you say absolutely no chance. 44% of you voted possibly, but very unlikely. I must say that I clicked that one as well. That's what I voted for. And then 14% of you believe that bulls are going to strike back with a mighty weekend pump to get that 7% move, 7.3% move. And 9% of you, I guess I would also click this one if I could tick two options. It doesn't matter because we're just short-term trading. We're giving you guys those short-term trades each and every single day. I'm here 6 days a week. I also have very important news around that. That's not going to continue, right? Stay tuned till the end and I'll tell you more about that. That's not necessarily going to continue. So if that is the case, if the bearish cross does take place and prices are going to move towards the downside over here, then your return on investment from cycle peak looks something like this. We're currently following the purple trajectory, which I'm chucking on and off the screen over there. And you can see that that downtrend can persist for about 360 days. If you look exactly in 2017, which is the orange one, that's cycle 3, well, that one lasted 364. Cycle 4, which was the 2022 to 23 bear market, that lasted 366 days. And then we can check on this one over here. This was quite a long one. That was 2014-15 bull market that came to its end. Bear market into 2015. 406 days, and then the first and second one, there we go, very, very, very short because Bitcoin wasn't that mature. So that's why I say pay attention. Very, very, very important weekly close, one of the most important. And then, of course, you got Fed data and things coming out in December, which is also going to affect markets. Everybody believes there's going to be a whole lot more rate cuts, but if those probabilities begin to shift, that could be what leads to this acceleration towards the downside. So if we look over here at some of the on-chain metrics, I did make a tweet about this. Bitcoin been sitting under that short-term hodler cost basis for a month, and demand is not coming back into the market. Price is now compressing into the 81 to 89K pocket, which is very similar to the range that we saw over here. This is back in 2022, following that peak where price came down. It then consolidated in between those moving averages and bounced around until it hit that red moving average over there, which is your short-term holder cost basis, rejecting off that and then accelerating towards the downside. So the question is, will we see something similar? I think that based on the MACD close, you're going to have some more information around that, right? So keep an eye out on that. And then we'll also get further negative funding. We still haven't seen much, especially considering when you're coming off of quite a significant peak. Usually the acceleration is more like this. Let me just quickly get the exact area. There you go. The acceleration coming off of the peak is usually more like this, right? So if you look at that, very, very, very negative funding, and that does lead to sizable bounces, but we haven't seen extremely negative funding, which just shows you that there's still some hopium in the market. Still some hopium in the market. Like even for now, for example, 15% of you believe that the bulls will strike back. Like, I'm not here to judge you or say that you're wrong. We're here to look at the probabilities and the potential outcomes. And right now, I must say, it doesn't look like it. You could pause here and it will take a little bit of time. And I still think there's a chance that price will run into that $100,000 territory, 105K level in the form of a day cap bounce or a leaf rally. And that will be a complacency bounce, which will print, remember what we've been looking at, that right shoulder for a head and shoulder pattern, right? So there's your left shoulder, there's your head. Anything that moves up into that 105K region would be your right shoulder, but that will take time. You have to consider the timing. If you look over here to print that right shoulder, well, that was 154 days, which is quite a long period of time, right? And then if you look over here to print your head is 32 weeks or 224. So, I mean, if you had to play out something similar and you go from to print the right shoulder to the peak of that right shoulder is about 12 weeks. So even if that is the low, 12 weeks takes you out into February. So you might see something like that, right? Price running through into February, like trying to struggle over here, running through at some point into February to put in a high around that 100K level, 105K, and then you'll probably distribute further. Remember, that rally probably equates to a run up into that short-term hodler cost basis level, which is probably similar to where your 50-week simple moving averages as well. It looks very, very, very similar, right? So guys, if you want to be guided each step of the way, remember, take advantage of this. You get a free 10K Bitfunded trading account. Even if you join now within this first bunch of people, the first 134, you're guaranteed you're getting a $5,000 Bitfunded account. Remember, the special is 48% off. And then we're closing the Discord. That's it. We will be closing the Discord. So make sure you apply the promo code if you do decide to sign up, or when you decide to sign up, make sure to apply that promo code to make sure that it does actually consider you under the Cyber Monday special, which we've now rolled over into Cyber Monday. And that's it, right? That's it. So a lot of different traders in there absolutely crushing it. You can see the P&Ls, the profits over here. I'll just give you a very quick overview for anyone new here to show you what to expect. You got various different sections. This is my section. You got the institutional chart section over here, where we constantly updating and looking at high level data. You got things over here that are, these products cost like $5,000 just to use, and we're sharing that with you for free over there. You got your various different traders. Farouk is trading gold like an absolute maestro over here, looking at the breakout over there on gold. This is giving you daily bread. So I'm going to spill the beans over here a little bit when it comes to, the gold trading. It's not only for gold, but I wanted to keep it private within Discord. But I also want to give people the opportunity with full disclosure of what you'd be getting. So now, not only will you be getting, of course, the 48% discount, the Bitfunded account that comes with that if you do decide to join today, but on top of that, you'll be getting a specialized indicator that we developed over the last 6 months. It's actually been more than that. It's actually been about 8 months that we've been developing that. For any of you that join, this is what Farouk is using to extract daily bread out of the market each and every single day. So for any of you that do decide to join, he'll be coaching you on that. He'll be doing live trading sessions with you on that. It can be used for crypto as well, Bitcoin, ETH, S&P 500, NASDAQ, but it's working best with gold. And if we do go into a bearish market, you want to stick with things that have extremely high liquidity. So for those of you that were looking to join anyway, there's that additional information for you. You'll only receive the indicator in December, just by the way. You're not going to get it immediately as you join because we need to just work out the distribution of the indicator. So moving into Bitcoin. Now, this is stuff that we warned of. Bitcoin moving up towards that 50% level off a very low volume, starting to come into a weak territory with a potential rejection in play. Now, could it spike up over here one more time? Absolutely, that's possible. I'm going to show you on the 4-hourly time frame exactly what you're looking for that to happen. But understand this, anything below there at $108,387 is lower high territory, and you could reject anywhere from this zone. So given the volume over here is very low, which is what we said we would expect going into the Thanksgiving period, going into long weekends where a lot of people around the world take vacations, there's not much going on. Okay. And ultimately, price is going to probably stall out. And I think at minimum, I'm not necessarily calling for new lows, but I think at minimum, you'll get a bit of a pullback over here and retest near those lows. So therefore, any price action trading up into these regions is better off looking for sell opportunities. And we covered this yesterday as well, and the day before, and the day before, and the day before. I told you what to look out for, which was the rejection of the middle Bollinger Band as the Bollinger Band with percentile resets. Remember, this is a volatility indicator that shows you that the trend is strong, right? The trend is strong towards the downside. We got into overheated territories. Hence, you have the markings over here of extreme red lines. It's red lined all the way through, printing those vertical red bars, telling you that, well, ultimately some of the sell pressure is probably going to subside. And we saw that in the form of that Coinbase premium, which we brought up for you yesterday. And I guess I can quickly highlight that and throw this into play. Well, we've seen that premium continue to decline, and the Coinbase premium is now actually flipping positive. But the thing is, there's no volume. It's only really happening on Coinbase, which means that this could just as well easily reset. We said it will reset, it will correct, and the correction over there equals an upside move coming into now resistance, which may just reload over here for the next big move up, which means ultimately price goes in the direction of the trend, which is down. So be aware of that. Be very, very, very aware of that. That's currently in play. You have your RSI pivot level, which yes, price is above over here, but a lot of resistance, massive resistance. All of it's at about 107K. There can be no talks of bull market back on or things like that unless you reclaim all of that. And remember, it goes against the timing principles as well. Sometimes learning the principles of timing within the market is much more important than anything else because these markets are very cyclical and they respect those timing factors. And we effectively reach the end of the timing cycle, which you guys know. You've been following for a long time. You know exactly what we're looking at. Now, I know a lot of you are looking at as well, right? Christmas rally. I saw a couple of comments in the chat about Christmas rally. Here we have it, Santa rally. Absolutely, in the stock market, that's a possibility. But what you need to be aware of is if that does happen for crypto, that may just look something like this, right? That may just look something like this, which would just be your bearish retest and your opportunity to offload for the right shoulder, which is still coming. Potentially. I don't make any predictions over here. We're just working with the probabilities, but potentially a right shoulder coming. So rejecting off the yearly open, bulls will definitely want to see price get above that yearly open. Let's have a quick look. Okay, before we have a quick look at the various different momentum oscillator timelines, one area that I did want to highlight is given this move up, very nice from the bulls, maybe, just maybe you'll drop down into this fair value gap over here. So let's actually quickly just label that. There we go. So you got a fair value gap coming in just under where the Monday high was, and I'll price label it as well. So it's really precise for you guys. There you go. It's really precise for you guys. That's 88,639 would be the equilibrium or the midpoint of that fair value gap. So using this alongside the USDT dominance, which is going into inverse fair value gap, and I'll show you that as well in a minute. This is what you want to see if you're bullish and you want this leg to continue, right? You want to pull back. You want to create that higher low here in the shorter term at 88,638. And then you want to trade that up towards the yearly open and have that respect and hold that yearly open. And that can reposition price a little bit higher. But it's just level to level, right? If, however, you fall through this zone, you break through that and flip this into resistance, that's going to be incredibly bearish. That means you full retrace that first big move up that happened on Wednesday. So what I'm suggesting is it's logical that if you're long, you have your stop loss underneath that low that occurred. And I'll just give you the price level. Let's put in a price level because it always makes it visually easy for you guys. It's logical to have your stop loss over here if you're long on the market. So anything that comes into play over here, you're looking to buy, it's worth taking the trade, and then your stop loss is going to be at 86,113. If you break and hold below this, you need to reassess and say, well, you're probably going to take that out. So better to just cut the trade early in that instance. Let's quickly have a look at the various different timeframes with the momentum oscillator and just see exactly how this looks. So your 4 hourly is coming down. Let's start off on the hourly actually. Hourly is still coming down, has a potential to bounce over there. So you can use that in alignment with price pulling into the 4-hour fair value gap. 4 hours still coming down. 8 hour, let's quickly see on the 8 hour. 8 hours still coming down. It's got a lot of room towards the downside. 12 hours crossing down. Daily could just roll through one more time over there. VWAP is coming down. So the way I'd be viewing this is utilize that hourly, and let's go back onto here. Utilize that hourly with price action, and you're looking for this. Price action into there. See signs of support developing. See that momentum oscillator, getting the green dot and moving back up. You don't have to use this. You can use other momentum oscillators, but I'll update, of course, all of you in Whale Room under my section if we do see something like that, right? Also, we're in the gravity trade. High profits there. High profits over there in Whale Room. So that's all going well. Don't lose sight of the daily. This is the daily situation. So your best case scenario is using those hourlies and 4 hourlies for something like this. And then it's going to maybe give the next leg up if you're lucky, which is all going to be resistance, right? You don't have great confluence between the time frames. Longs in a downtrend are risky. It's possible, but it's risky. You're always better off looking for these short trades, but I'm still giving you what the long trade situation would look like anyway, even if it were to take place. So let's line that up with the USDT dominance. This is your inverse fair value gap over there. Hourly momentum oscillators already all the way at the top over there. You obviously want this to roll over. You want this to roll over because that would be the equivalent, if you're bullish, right? That would be the equivalent of testing that inverse fair value gap, rejecting over there and coming down for low prices, which would definitely bounce price out of this zone. So let's just see the other time frames. Your 8 hours got a lot of upside, which is the inverse of what we're seeing on the momentum oscillators on Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin 8 hour, 12 hour daily is all turning down, which is not good for price. So it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a battle. It's definitely going to be a huge battle that's going on over here. And not only all of this, but you also have that ETH BTC, which is, it has to break a level. Now, that's it. We're at the apex. It can't go on anymore. We are going to get this now. It has to happen. I mean, this is daily. So theoretically, this can push on into the 4th of December, but I just can't see it lasting much longer. So you want to pay attention to ETH as well. Okay, a very, very, very important one to look at. We'll get to ETH in just a moment. Let's quickly review what's going on the whale trade side. I've made some beautiful updates for you guys. There's a little bit more organization over here. If you go to the data hub, you can access some new tools. Made some stuff for you over here, right? All of this is for free. It's linked in the description below. I'm not necessarily going to say it's free forever because if it becomes too expensive for me to maintain, I will have to do something about that, right? Currently, I pay a few $1,000s a month to run this, but if it gets like over 10K, guys, I'm not going to pay that out of pocket. We're going to have to team up with something on this, right? But anyways, you got dollar cost average calculator now. You have these tools that are moved into this area. One thing that I asked for specifically, which I really like, is a calculator, right? So for example, you can look at your positioning and you can say, hey, I had $5,000 and now I have let's just say like $8,500. So you're up 70% over there. You went up $3,500 in profit. You 70% up. But what happens if you lose money? This is going to be valuable for your low time frame trades. Let's say you had $5,000 and now your account dropped down to $2,000. You've of course lost $3,000 or you're 60% down. But how much money do you need to get back to break even? Well, you need a return of 150%. So I made this for you guys. It's everything I've made for you. I actually made for myself, but I'm just sharing it with you guys for free. And there it is. And then you can also see as well just above my head over here, all the whale traders and their profits or losses. They share all the wins and losses over there as they come in. So let's just go back to the normal dashboard. We'll go onto the normal dashboard over here because that's what I wanted to look at. Okay, cool. So what have we got over here? The sentiment back to 28%. That's picking up in terms of the sentiment. We got the long to short ratio, negative 2.26% skew, nothing too significant. Volume continues to diminish, as I said it would. Liquidations are very, very, very low because the volume is diminishing and there's a lack of market participants, which means that it's very easy for them to move price up or down. One big player comes in, big buys, price goes up. One big player comes in with big sells, price goes down aggressively, which means you need to be very, very, very careful with how much money you have in the market when the liquidity is low. So daily exchange volume still coming down, right? Still coming down over there. I do expect another week of outflows. Let's have a look at what the daily was. It was still inflows, but very low, right? Let's just zoom in there a bit more. Inflows, but very, very, very low. So you're still working on those weeklies to get further outflows. And you have the best, excuse me, you have the best position size calculator in the whole world. Absolutely the best position size calculator. So make sure that you are using that. Cool. Let's move on. What else? Liquidity. Where's the liquidity stacked? Weekly, pretty flat. Not much going on. Let's go into the 24-hour. Okay, 24-hour. Starting to build underneath price. It's not that significant yet. We want to see over 20, 25 million. This is sitting at like 15.3. So that's also been wiped out. 12-hour, pretty equal. So you got a tight range over there, but very low. Just no liquidity. $4 million. Absolutely nothing over there in terms of liquidity to be taken. So based on all the information, everything you're looking at over here, you can take the long trades. You can take these kind of low time frame trades, but they come with a lot of risk. You're better off trading in alignment with the trend. And unfortunately, this paints an obvious picture. Middle Bollinger Band, rejection right at that 50% level. I anchored the 50% from that high down to the low because this is your previous lower high, down to the local low of the range. That is $94,000. That is the level that you kind of want bulls to reclaim to start to shift momentum towards the upside a bit more. Alrighty. So we are in a Zcash short trade, as I did show you in Whale Room over there. We took that short trade in Whale Room. You know, I said yesterday, take about 5% profits just so you can leave your stop loss in the same place. Shaving 5% profit should be enough to cover any kind of a loss that you would experience from this trade. Maybe you can take a little bit more. You can take another 5% if you do want. There is a chance you spike back towards break even. I'm going to leave my stop at the same place. I don't want to move it down because I do still think you're at low time frame key support. So Zcash could do that and then continue its journey down. So I've left everything as it is. Currently up 42% on the short trade. And remember, all of this was dropped ahead of time over here in Whale Room. We do the live Zooms. We do everything for you guys over there. Take advantage, right? Take advantage while those spots are still available. This is really, really, really your final chance. If these finish before Monday, that's it. That's it, right? It's full. We can't take any more. 134 spots remain. The end. That is it. As soon as we hit that threshold, Discord closed. Someone has to leave in order for you guys to come back in, right? I just want to be crystal clear. You can scan this if you happen to be on a TV or something. You're watching this on TV. You can scan this with your mobile device and you'll get through to the page. So anyways, let's have a look at some of the others. So this is trade one, right? That's one of the trades that we gave over there. Let's quickly see. There we go. Breaking the trend. This is theoretically opens up a short trade over here on Ethereum. This is what I was looking for as well, which I covered with you guys yesterday. And we lined these two charts up together. The apex of this is going to break very, very, very soon. We want to be on the right side of that trade. Low time frame, there's an opportunity for ETH bulls to step in, maybe because you hit the golden pocket, right? We hit the golden pocket down here. We already took one long trade down there into this golden pocket, but we'd look for another opportunity possibly based on the fact that you're breaking this trend line as per the law drawing, right? You've broken this trend. So let's see if price comes back down to 2,822 for ETH for potential continuation. That's quite a big pullback, 5.85%, almost 6% down. So I'm keeping a close eye out on that. It's happening. There we go. Perfect, on time. on schedule. And maybe, just maybe, I'll take a long trade over there. But in the short term, shorts are going to start to pay out, right? So that's why we have this trade on the table. And there may be some more. Let's scroll down and have a look at some of the things we looked at yesterday. Remember, we went through the entire list yesterday. A lot of coins. A lot of coins over there. Okay, let me scroll through. We'll start off over here. I think we started by looking at syrup. There it is. Short trade. Instantly in profit. I mean, hold it a little bit further. As soon as you take out that low that occurred yesterday at 26.6, syrup is probably going to accelerate towards the downside. I'm looking at 14 cents target for syrup. These are big numbers. This is a almost 50% downside move, which is absolutely beautiful, right? Alan says, great trading with Kyle, better than your daily coffee. I hope you're combining this with your daily coffee. I know that most of you watching right now are probably live within the UK or somewhere in Europe. Maybe it's very late in the US and you happen to be watching. I do appreciate you guys. Yeah, look, guys, I'm not going to be able to do videos on a Saturday anymore. They want to free up space for other people that are like joining the Banter ecosystem and stuff. So that's why I say, unfortunately, with a sad heart, this is basically my last Saturday video with you guys, unfortunately. But I do look to stay connected with you guys. Of course, in Whale Room, I'll be updating over there on Saturdays. Anytime something happens, you can, of course, follow me on X, on Twitter. Everything is actually on the, if you go into the Whale Trade site, you'll find the links over here for X, Instagram, everything over there, right? And then also, I may as well mention the personal channel. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. There is a link over there before we do go into the next short trade over there. There is a link over there. I just posted something and I would love to get your feedback. So go through, subscribe, comment on the video, like the video, go through over there as well. Let me know. I did ask a question and I'm hoping you guys can see this because it says it is published. And I asked you guys, you know, which video would you like first? Do you want some sort of a challenge video? Do you want a week in the life video to see what I get up to on a weekly basis as a full-time trader and content creator? Do you want to find out about my life before crypto? So far, it looks like most of you have voted that. Rags before riches. Where did I come from? What is my true story, right? You can go and vote over there. Or do you just want a Dubai lifestyle video, which is a little bit more shallow, but it is what it is, right? So go and subscribe to the channel. Pause this video, go and subscribe while you still can. I would really appreciate the love and support over there. And then, yeah, we'll try and add as much content as possible. We got Just J Rich. He looks like he lives the life based on that profile picture, and he wants lifestyle. Look, we'll probably get to all of them. The question is, which one do you want first? That's the question. Which video do you want first? Go and let me know. Okay, so let's move on. Let's move on over here. Let's get into the next trade. What's the next trade? So that was one trade, all right, is syrup as a short. We have World Liberty Finance. We took the short trade on that one as well. So if you have a look at World Liberty Finance, like, you know, we're obviously playing against some heavy manipulators in the space, the Trump family. So, you know, love him or hate him, I'm just telling you guys the obvious truth when it comes to the way that they run the markets. So there is a chance of getting stopped out on this, but from a technical perspective, smashing into that downsloping trend line, which is currently respecting price. I drew this out yesterday and I wasn't sure if it was actually going to hold up, but it is holding up. You got your underside resistance. This was previous support, which you now expect to flip into resistance. And then most importantly, just studying and looking at that, that's an order block. When those order blocks lead to breakdowns, price oftentimes touches them and then rejects in the same direction of the original breakdown to retrace or even supersede some of this move. So, you know, a bit of a trend line that's developing over there. Of course, that will tell you full acceleration if you start to lose this overall trend. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at the short trade from a range perspective on World Liberty Finance. You know, that may at least lead to a move back to the bottom of the trading range. But if you do break this trend and the bottom of that trading range like this, acceleration. And I've just marked down to these lows, but really this can just continue. Like there's no reason why it should stop over there. This thing, it will just be in a downtrend until it changes direction. So that's another trade. There we go. You've got a few trades. It was H-bar, another one that we had. H-bar, you need to wait. H-bar is not ready. You could take an early short over here, but you have to have precise low time frame precision to enter into that kind of a trade. So basically for this one, I'm not going to take it. I'll rather wait for a spike up, but I'm happy with SYRP. I'm happy with World Liberty Finance. I'm happy with the Gravity short trade, which is already in the money. We have the MicroStrategy short trade, which we covered 75% of that position. There was all weird things going on with the stock market and the futures market, like being halted and not opening and stuff on Friday. So I'm not really going to look at that stuff yet. We'll reevaluate on Monday. Okay, I'll reevaluate on Monday. Trump coin over here. Look, the only reason I'm showing this is because I want you to look at the chart, right? This is kind of what I think will happen with World Liberty Finance. It's very similar. So you had this move up into the underside resistance and then it came down. So it looks very, very, very similar, right? The move up into the underside resistance, and I'm expecting it to follow suit with the Trump coin, which moves all the way back down to range lows and probably further down. Any longs out there? This is for Sith Lord Todd. I hope I said that correctly. Sith Lord Todd. The long trade setup would be on Bitcoin. If you're going to take a long, stick with things that have high liquidity, short the things with low liquidity because they just bleed out within this market anyway. So you're looking for a rejection over here on USDT dominance from, well, this is what you want if you're bullish, right? If you're going to play the bullish price action, you want to see USDT dominance move up into 6.13% and reject. And then you want to see Bitcoin come to $88,640 and find support. You're using these two counter to one another, right? So this one goes up, Bitcoin goes down. This one hits that and rejects and goes down. Bitcoin hits this support and moves up. That's what you're looking for. How did I do with Trump NFTs? Like terrible. I don't know what's going on with them. I don't even understand if they listed. It's yeah. Look, it was a calculated bet. It's relative to my net worth. It's like very, very insignificant. It's nothing. But yeah, what can I say? I bought the full stack. That's it. And we'll see what happens. If NFTs ever come back, I guess that's my exposure to them. And maybe there'll be something. But look, if I knew, for example, Melania, Trump coin, World Liberty Finance, all of that was just going to be like straight declines, and I had that evidence before me, then I would never have bought them. When I purchased that Trump collection, it was the first and second NFT collection. And then, of course, he just went like, you know, full money grab on everything, right? Just launched product after product after product. I think he did another thing like very recently. I saw something in one of these research groups about Trump. I can't find it now, but he said like there's something that just came out recently where he's now tried something else again, which is crazy. Okay, so I don't know what's going to happen with him. There's a chance that nothing happens. But the good news is because I bought the full stack, it came with like a collectible card. It's somewhere in the corner over there on the wall. But that will probably, someone will buy anyway, and they'll probably cover everything because it's got a piece of his physical suit in it. So, yeah. Anyways, let's see what happens with those. I don't know what will happen over there. Where's our tools over here? Let's go back. Okay, we'll move into those. Before we go through the rest of the altcoin requests, guys, take advantage of Black Friday. You got enormous sales. I don't know do I have it over here. I just want to double check. I've closed the page, but it's effectively like you're almost getting like 90% off on NordVPN. They're giving you 4 months extra and like 80% off on Black Friday. It's basically as close to free as possible. And then also remember Ledger as well. Huge sales, 50% off on a Ledger. Take your security very, very, very seriously. Protect your capital as much as possible. I also want to say with a Ledger, double check every transaction, not just the first 3 and the last 3 digits when you do transact on Ledger. They have found ways where they make addresses that look extremely close to yours, but there's like 2 digits that are changed. So even if you're using Ledger, be very, very, very careful, right? The sophistication of these scammers is absolutely next level. Alrighty, let's move on. Oh yes, Gravity. Before I finish over here, I had to mention that. We're obviously trading this on Gravity. Naturally, you entered into the Banter Royale competition where you can win $15,000, right? So if you want to get involved with that, it's all linked in the description below. Let's move on. Let's go to how's Aster doing, which broke that trend. So Asta broke that trend line down. We'll go on the 4-hourly. So it's chopping about. It's okay. I think that there's a good chance that this is going to come down to 86, 87 cents, as we previously had mentioned. XMR is one of the only coins that are strong. If I go into the daily, you can get a better idea. This thing is just going straight up. Look at the weekly over here. Very, very, very strong. I said you could basically be long with your stop loss below this weekly candle. If you do want to long anything, there was a question, right? What are we longing? Well, it would be the Bitcoin fair value gap. You could long this. You could look to Ethereum when it drops down into that lower target that I gave. So there's a lot of trades. There's the opportunities for you. Okay. There are the opportunities for you. Oh, yes, that's what it is. I did see that. Yes. The Trump vodka. That's the next thing. The Trump vodka is now out. It's mad, guys. So yeah, look, I wouldn't buy the NFTs. If you're considering it, I wouldn't buy them. I wouldn't do that again. Alrighty. Let's go on to XRP on the daily. Yeah, if it's going to move up, it's probably going to pull back one more time towards just under $2. Otherwise, if you start to close under $2, full distribution. Solana, rejecting already. Is this another lower high that's going to drive you down to $100? I think that depends on if Bitcoin can hold up or not. If Bitcoin can't hold up and Bitcoin puts in new lows, of course, this is going to $100. Sui, rejecting from the pink line just before that, possibly going to come back down. Best case scenario is you put in a high low, otherwise new lows. But I do think you're going to pull back a bit deeper over here on Sui. Sonic, it looks terrible. I wouldn't be surprised if it makes new lows. These coins suck, all of them. We already went through the list. Should we do it again? Like, honestly, should we do it again? I've tried to re-highlight the ones that look decent from yesterday for both short and long trades, and we've given those. Okay. You thought Trump was against alcohol. Not against selling it, maybe against drinking it, but not selling it. He's never had a drop of alcohol in his life, he says. Never drunk alcohol, which is interesting, surprisingly. But he likes Coke Zero, I believe. Okay. All right, guys, you let me know in the comments. Do you see anything rock solid out there? Do you see anything rock solid out there? I'm keeping an eye out on the comments. For anyone looking for a tier 1 exchange to trade on, Femix offering a $30,000 sign-up bonus. If you want it, the link is below. And let's check, are you guys subscribing? You are. Thank you very much. Go and vote on that poll, right? I need your guys' input over here to know what video to make. So far, there's only 7 answers. So go and vote on that poll. If you go through to the channel, which is linked below, you can go and vote, right? That's all you have to do is go to, here you go, follow Kyle, click on that, go to the channel. So I'll right click, there you go, go to the channel, and then you just go through to posts, and then just click vote over there, vote and subscribe. If you didn't subscribe, subscribe. Alrighty. Pulse chain, rock solid. I don't know, Harry Williams, I can't agree, unfortunately. And this is coming from someone that did actually buy into the Pulse chain IDO, right? Then the ICO, IDO, whatever you want to call it, the initial coin offering. Pulse chain looks terrible. It looks really terrible. Where is Pulse chain? Do I even have it on here? Pulse, maybe I have to write out the full word. Pulse. It's PLSE, right? I mean, the fact that it's not even coming up. Sorry, one second. PLS. Let's just see if it comes up over here. We need it under crypto. Pulse chain. Yes, Pulse chain. Okay, Pulse chain. We got a few Pulse chains. Pulse pad. We'll use this one over here, because this is Pulse X versus Pulse chain. Now this is not working for us. I'm sure I had it in the list. Let me just go over here. I'm going to find it quickly. Pulse. Where? Here it is. Wrap Pulse. That's what it's got to be. So look, this coin is I'm very doubtful that you're going to get any kind of recovery on this. I genuinely, like, I'm being honest with you. This is someone that holds this coin. Unfortunately, I obviously wish that I didn't, but I do still have some of this token on a wallet somewhere. And I legitimately think there's way higher chances that this is just going to go into new lows. That's the truth. That is the truth, unfortunately. Unless I have the wrong ticker completely, but I don't think I do. I don't think I have the wrong ticker. Turbo is running. Okay, let's have a look at Turbo. Let's pull up Turbo there and we'll see what's going on Turbo. Turbo, USDT. Now I just lost it. Okay, it's fine. We got it back. Let's just throw that back into the meme list. There we go, Turbo. It is, yeah, Turbo's got a big move on its hands, but it's probably going to be a money grab. These are not things that you can trade. There's no way of knowing that. Like, it's orchestrated 100%. It is key support, so you got to give it that. But I think it's just, even if it's a technical bounce, it's going to be faded. I think that you'll really, really struggle on Turbo to get above this level, which is basically where it's essentially tagged already. This is huge resistance over here for Turbo. If Turbo can smash through all of this and recover the breakdown level, which would look like this, the breakdown level, smash through, recover, get above here. Now you target the breakdown level, get back above the breakdown level, and then that's how you can start to establish an uptrend. But I don't think it's likely. The most likely outcome is this, even if it runs up there and then just down. Okay. I wouldn't short it because it's got a lot of momentum. The ones that I've given are the best short opportunities. The ones I've given are the best short opportunities. Those are the ones you want to focus on. Why is FOG running? All of these will be orchestrated. Any meme coin that's running, it's random, it's orchestrated. They try and orchestrate an exit pump for the last little bit that they have left. Right? Put in a couple of $1,000s, try and get everyone excited. Hopefully they start buying it, and then you can dump the last of your coins. That's most of the time what happens. So FOG, I mean, that's not really running. Is FOG running? Doesn't look like it to me. It did have a decent move up, but it's all the same story, right? I think I actually made a tweet about this. So consider this chart, right? Consider this chart, and then let's go through to my Twitter account. Okay, we consider that chart. We go through to my Twitter page, and then we go through to the bottom over here. This is it. This is basically the image. So this is what a lot of people do, right? Down 99%. This is why I had to build a calculator to actually help you. Because we can go over here. We can go to our data hub. I'm going to say, on the bottom over here, okay, you had 100%, you 100% of your equity. And now you only have, 3% of your equity left. So you're down 97%. It means you need a 3,233% profit to break even, as it even has over here. Extreme loss warning. Big alarm bells. Recovery requires massive gains that may be very difficult to achieve. Not impossible, but extremely difficult to achieve. Ask yourself, how many times have you hit a 3,233.3% trade? That is huge. Enormous gains, right? Very, very unlikely. And this is why risk management is so important. So you got to manage that risk over there. So this is the case, right? This is, and you might say I'm wrong. I'm not saying that you bought the exact top, but let's even be generous and say that you bought what you thought was the first dip and you held on. So the first dip, price comes down, you bought the first dip and you held on. Well, you're down 96%, 96.8, which is pretty in alignment with this example that I gave. I said 97% down, right? You lost 97%. This is your required gain. So this is an important lesson, right? This is stuff I discuss in Whale Room as well, which we go through all these examples. So guys, remember, time is running up. If you do want to join into this is the best offer you're going to get. I just want to remind you what the offering is. Getting into Whale Room for 1 year, it works out to like, under $100 a month. You'll never get a better deal than that. It's 48% off. You'll never pay less. You're getting a free Bitfunded challenge of $5,000, absolutely guaranteed, entered into the draw to get a $10,000 account. And on top of that, you're getting a specialized trading indicator that Farouk is going to use to show you how to pull daily bread out of the market. Okay. Now, remember, it's not for everyone. If your account is under $10,000, it might be a little bit too expensive for someone like you. It's probably better to just stick with the free content, which also offers enormous value. But if you want the extra touch, then it's for you. Take advantage. Alt season, yes or no chance. I'll never say I'm not saying yes, and I also wouldn't say no chance. I would say very unlikely. That's what I would say. Okay. That's what I would say. Very unlikely. To be fair, the earlier sign-up should get the Bitfunded account. Look, the thing is, it's not my call, right? They just came and said, hey, we're willing to do this for you because you've been so supportive and we want to basically just give you a thank you. That's Bitfunded, the Bitfunded team. So it's not on me, right? Either if I knew the choice was there before, I would have been like, cool, give it to everyone. So unfortunately, I can't really help with that. It's not mine to give, right? They gave it to me. Alrighty. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense for you guys. So some things are out of my control. All right, guys, please go and vote over here. 18 of you have answered. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I would love to have you guys all there. I'm looking forward to put out the first video, or the second video, I should say. That is it from me. I will see all of you legends on the next one. You have all your trades. You have your long setup for Bitcoin. You have your long setup for ETH if it comes down into those lower targets. You have a couple of short trades, 2 that are active right now, Zcash and Syrup. And then you have a third one on World Liberty Finance, which may come into play if you get a bit more of a spike up. I'll see you all on the next one. This is the last Saturday show, unfortunately. I appreciate each and every single one of you so much, and we'll see you guys soon. Cheers for now.